Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me. 6 days we work, then we bask. We leave the noise to hear Yah's voice. We listen, we learn, we struggle to know. We walk with Yah through the mikre. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me.
Hey, well, welcome to the Family Hour. You can even see old Wookie. He's in the real corner here of our shot. Wonderful to see everybody. We've got Captain Kirk in the little circle. We've got Leah in the big circle. Oh, Will, Mariah, and my good friend Mike, and of course up there in the corner we have Kevin. And you're hanging out at Leah's well, huh?
It is Leah by the well night. Absolutely.
Leah by the well night. Well, Miss Leah, since me thinks that there's a fairly significant likelihood that you wrote the song Leah at the well.
Very possible.
And Wookie, my guess is that you've heard this song like 18 billion times already. You want Wookie to introduce it? By the way, this is Wookie's tea. He decided he would have it in a sorbet glass. So, or as Rich calls it, fine china.
We brought out the fine stuff.
Fine china. But Wookie, Rich is from Kansas after all. It's a crystal. Even Wookie knows that it's crystal. Oh, but Wookie's going to get up and say hello. All right. So, Leah, tell us about Leah at the well.
Well, it's a song that I originally set it out to be a poem. I was just writing, as I do sometimes, and I decided to turn that poem into a song. And so this is the result of that. Okay. But it was originally a poem.
Okay. Why don't you tell us about Leah at the well?
Why don't we roll the clip and let the song speak for us?
No. Tell us the experience of Leah at the well that you decided to write about.
Well, if you go through Torah, you begin to notice patterns. And the pattern that I noticed quite often were women at the well. Lots of women met their husbands at a well. Or found something important there.
Yeah. Moshe's wife met him at a well.
Yes.
For example.
Yes. And that well is a body. Well, what is a well? It's a body of water. And we can get even more in depth about its allegorical meanings, but it points to a specific person.
Source of life. Source of cleansing, yes. Purification.
It also points to something a little more specific, maybe perhaps a who. The brazen sea is also somewhat of a well, held up by oxen. I think all of these things point to a specific individual.
Okay.
And that individual knows Yahweh's name, his son's name, and the way home. And the song is about that.
Okay. It's one of the things that is not often recognized by those who speak of Leah. She is the first wife, the unwanted wife of Jacob.
Not just unwanted, unloved.
Oh, well, not just unloved, abused. He physically and emotionally and mentally abused her. He was a scoundrel. He was a really bad man.
Jacob was a worm then, and he is now.
Yeah, that is correct. He was a worm. And you didn't want to marry him, and he didn't want to marry you. But it's how it played out, and he treated you very abusively. the life of Leah in delivering Yehud, delivering Loe, both essential to Israel, keeping that family together when by all means it should have split apart, even sharing her dode, which are the mandrakes, they're dodi. And so there is really no more difficult role for a woman in the whole of the Torah and prophets than being Leah. Mm-hmm. And, it didn't even turn out well at the end. Yeah, because to finally reach a point of neutrality with a horrible man after the death of a horrible sister. It's the whole story of Torah is just so raw with these
it's real.
Broken families and insights. It was a real bitter pill to be a circumstances. So as I understand this was
before you move on.
Yeah.
One thing about Leah that I found very important to understand were the names of her children in succession of birth, and what that means, because it is a message to Yehuda and Yisrael, and I've made video about it. But it's a very important message.
Yeah, behold the Son who unites us.
That's right.
In the love of Yah. That's a pretty strong family line to live with.
She was very bold in how she named her children.
Yeah, I think it's her diary.
It is. It is her children are her life's work.
Yes, clearly. All right. Well, now we have we're moving the squares around. So Captain Kirk, you're now down in the lower left, and we have my pal is there in the little circle. All right, let's play Leah at the Well and see. Pardon me. Yeah. One of the things about this is that I will see you on different sides than maybe I'm facing when the camera takes my image and actually reverses it the other way as if looking into a mirror. So it's a bit complex. We could always move that camera up there, but if we move the camera up there, it may never focus again, and we may have to have Whoopi show. But I think with the shirt I have on today, it will stay focused.
It can find you. Yep, it can find you. Shirt.
And Rich is going to use it for extra power for the batteries to charge batteries. We have many options for it. Let's play Leah at the well.
I stood where absence had left its mark, hands empty, yet my heart still reaching. Woman unloved by her husband. Then Yahowah met me not with noise, but with the quiet strength that gathers the scattered. He did not ask me to pretend I was whole. He taught me that being seen is not the same as being forgotten. He showed me a home not built by the proud, but opened by truth, vulnerability, and a doorway beyond stones in the wall, a family beyond fear, oppression, and rebellion. So I became a witness of the way back, not by striving to shine, but by learning to trust the light, and by performative measures of action, by walking in covenant fruitfully. And when the long road felt barren, I remember this: the shepherd is never late, and Yahowah's right hand is never closed, and Leah, though never seen in first light, already lingered in the edges of strife, the much quieter sister of a crowded hope, the one whose name became a snare, for some are chosen by the eye of day, and some are loved in shadows none can track, yet even hidden hearts are known above, and no true tenderness the open field where thirst and longing meet beneath the sun. And each soul carries some sealed waiting place until love comes and says, the day is done. So let the shepherd come with patient hands, and let the traveler keep his set apart flame. For all our roads, if they are walked with truth, will lead at last to one good name. Yahowah. One good name, Yahowah.
Well, that instrumental introduction is probably the prettiest of any so far. The lyrics are magnificent and powerful and appropriate. The voice was beautiful, and Depot did his usual, which is theatrical magic. If I had a criticism, I hope for one day that you will train the voice to properly pronounce Yahweh's name. It is not Yahowah. But other than that, it's a really, really magnificent presentation. And it is emotional. That's why I wanted to point out that I don't think there was a rougher life than Leah's. She quite literally was abused by Jacob. He was a creep. That's why Yahweh calls him a worm. Sometimes I wonder what's going to happen when particularly show up in Shamaim, and Jacob is going to be there.
Yeah.
And so is Abraham. And I have a very, very low regard for both men. I hold them both in low esteem. And what their response is going to be. Because my view of them, at least as they were, is not going to change. What do you think, Kirk? Am I being too harsh on either of those two men?
Not at all. I think you ought to slap them upside the head. Straight them out.
You know what my thinking is, what the most likely response is by both men?
Apologize?
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. We could have done a lot better. We should have done a lot better.
We were scoundrels.
Yeah, they were both scoundrels. They both had the ancient policy of treating women poorly.
Oh.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And it was an ancient custom to treat women poorly.
But for sure, by this point in time, Yada, they would have grown, right? You're talking about thousands of years in Shamaim with Yahweh. And I would imagine, I could picture Abraham walking up to you and saying, you're right. I really was terrible, and I see what I did wrong. And, however he went to reconcile that all. Yeah, these are going to be different men when we see them.
I think so. And excuse me for looking away from you on the screen. I'm actually looking at you on the screen so I can watch your gestures and things. I think that's the case. That's what I'm anticipating is them agreeing and say, that it was unfortunately real and that's who we were, and it got reported accurately. And fortunately, it worked out, but we could have and should have been a lot better, and we are now. So I do
matzah,
think
matzah.
Yeah. The old is gone. I'm not so sure, though, it's forgotten.
It's part of the
well,
record.
we wouldn't learn from it. We wouldn't learn from it if it was forgotten by us.
Yeah,
but Yahweh doesn't see it. So that's the point. I mean,
we know that the guilt associated with whatever we have done wrong religiously or politically, which is the big irritants to God, conspiratorially or militantly, has been taken away for every covenant member and dropped into Sheol, never to be seen again. That's the guilt associated with it. That doesn't mean that the lesson associated with it has been removed. That just means that there's no guilt associated with it anymore. It is the tree of the knowledge of good and bad, and that is restored in the Garden of Eden as we return to it. I'm convinced, and maybe I'm wrong, but it strikes me that there is no way to appreciate good if you can't contrast it with bad. Yeah. And going forward for the next 1,000 years, and even into eternity, I think we have to have at least some reference to what's bad for us to really fully appreciate and embrace what's good. Mike, what do you think?
Sorry. That's true. You wouldn't know what good was if it wasn't bad.
Right. I think that's
what beautiful was if it wasn't ugly. I mean, there's
correct.
Can't know what to love without hate.
Yeah. You can't really love without hating those things that are caustic to those you love. So I think there will be some memories left of some of these things as lessons going forward.
They'll be taught to the mortal remnant for sure, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely taught to the mortal remnant.
Yeah.
And it's just a question is, beyond that. I can't imagine that we go into Shamayim and we meet with an Abraham and a Jacob and have no background on them. But if we have background on them, so we recognize who they are, we have to know who they are, not just a reflection of the pretty shimmers, because you remove the bad from Jacob and from Abraham, you really don't have a lot left that is written about him. And he was not very smart. What he said was almost always inappropriate. And Jacob was far worse. He was an abusive man. So I think what we see is the redemptive capability of the Torah in them and of the covenant, and that God can fortunately work through flawed implements, which is also encouraging. But the Torah is the most real of books. It's the antithesis of everything else that was ever written that purported to be religious, where they make their gods, perfect and omniscient, and they make the people interacting with them holy and saints. The Torah is not that. The Christian presentation of their God-man, Jesus, they want to make him perfect. He wouldn't fit. He doesn't fit in God's story if he were. Well, he didn't actually exist, so he's a identity theft, product of identity theft. But he can't fit in God's story because God's beloved probably was the least perfect fellow of all. We have a lifetime perfecting him. So I just think it's fascinating. And I also think that it's fascinating to look at the contrast between Jacob and Leah, which was horrible. And although it produced 4 children, plus through the handmaids. And if you look at Boaz and Ruth producing one child who became a man whose name means to engage and to work, and then Yishai, and then Dod. What you find is that their relationship is the antithesis of this. Sure. Rather than Boaz demeaning and abusing Ruth begins her relationship with Boaz on her knees. She just falls right there and does a faceplant right before him, and then undoes YAHOWAH. She undoes YAHOWAH's whole stigma instantaneously. And with her in that position, he lifts her up to the point that she can soar. He is the exact opposite. He's talking about how God is literally, YAHOWAH is literally going to fulfill her work. and how she is this extraordinary woman who walked away from her people, from her, abandoned her mother and father, because they were abusive to her as well, and came to a people that she had not known day before yesterday. And, here she was talking with the mayor of Bethlehem, governor of probably of Judea, and he is extolling her. You're the most extraordinary woman in the world. God, literally, Yahweh has told me that he's going to fulfill your work, which is to bring the kinsman redeemer. So that's really the opposite is what we're seeing between these characters, and maybe that's part of the story.
Yes, and when Jacob thought that Esau was going to kill him because he was paranoid, not just a jerk. He sent Leah and her children as a buffer because he's such a coward.
Yeah, but Leah wasn't. You had no problem going to talk to Esau. No.
So she was the first to meet Esau.
I know you were. And then you would end up marrying the man from Edom.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. Full circle. Full circle again. Yeah. That's wonderful. And of course, when Leah gives birth to Asher, she actually claims that she is Ashar, that she is a blessing and a benefit to all women. So that's
pretty bold.
She overcame being an abused woman to declare that she is a blessing and a benefit to all women. And then you have in the 31st Mashal word picture, you serving as a mother to Dod, and it concludes with you being pronounced as the greatest of all women, and that you are serving Yahweh as Ashar. So, the whole thing ties together. It's
the whole thing reminds me of the Song of Solomon.
Yeah. So you're very contemplative. I can see an emotional face there, Mariah, and I think it really, both Ruth's story and Leah's story should resonate with women. Here's a woman that was really in as bad a spot as she could possibly be. Both cases, they were in as bad a spot as they could possibly be, and they end up living two of the most tremendously valuable lives in human history. She outproduced her husband by infinitely. Leah did. Yeah. And Ruth is the one who there is nobody else that Ruth says, I'm going to fulfill her life's work. It's pretty extraordinary.
Oh, yeah, it's bold.
Yeah, and Ruth comes into town with the greatest oratory, I think, in human history. I go where you go. Yeah, I will live where you live. Your people are my people. Your God is my God. And actually, the things that she says after that, they're more complicated to understand, are even more profound. But it's probably the greatest soliloquy ever delivered. So this is, for people that think that the Torah may be a bit misogynist and that it's men who rule the roost, there are three women in the Torah and prophets that are really, really extraordinary. Leah overcomes so very much to be extraordinary and to deliver the line that Dod would emerge from, and some of the most amazing experiences to show what happens if you ultimately trust that light of God and you're not trying to overpower the world with some sense of entitlement, but simply to say, I care deeply and trust Yahweh, and it's all going to work out, and it did. And then with Ruth she was so bright and bold that she was abandoned essentially by her own mother and father. She was just too bold for them. And, back in that day, no man had the courage to marry a woman that was that bold in what she would say, and uncontrollable, if you will, and outsmarted them. And so she ended up marrying a man called Diseased as a foreigner, because her own people wouldn't have her. And then he goes and dies, and she leaves her people to come to a people that she had not known. And she transforms them. The Shabbat organization would say that Ruth converted to Judaism.
No, she
but the
killed
reality
Judaism.
is Ruth destroyed Judaism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Ruth is the one who will ultimately convert that final remnant, and she's, according to these prophecies, she's enmeshed in that final Lakat on Towrah. Towrah is her day, and both the final Lakat, which is repeated so many times, and the final remnant, that's what she's there to glean. Great story.
Yeah.
I would, if you don't mind, now that we know a little bit more about what we're talking about in terms of Leah and who she was and what she had to overcome, and how much she ultimately, by persevering, she did not give up, even though life, you can't be in a worse situation that you're thrown into the bed and now married to a creep that hates you and is going to abuse you, and is going to work 7 years in resentment to marry your sister, who's not exactly the nicest girl in the world either. And yet she rises to the point where she is pronounced as the blessing to all women and a benefit to all women. Let's play it again. Can we?
Yeah, absolutely.
I stood where absence had left its mark, hands empty, yet my heart still reaching. Woman unloved by her husband. Then Yahowah met me not with noise, but with the quiet strength that gathers the scattered. He did not ask me to pretend I was whole. He taught me that being seen is not the same as being forgotten. He showed me a home not built by the proud, but opened by truth, vulnerability, and a doorway beyond stones in the wall, a family beyond fear, oppression, and rebellion. So I became a witness of the way back, not by striving to shine, but by learning to trust the light, and by performative measures of action, by walking in covenant fruitfully. And when the long road felt barren, I remember this: the shepherd is never late, and Yahowah's right hand is never closed. And Leah, though never seen in first light, already lingered in the edges of strife, the much quieter sister of a crowded hope, the one whose name became a snare. For some are chosen by the eye of day, and some are loved in shadows none can track. Yet even hidden hearts are known above, and no true tenderness is ever lack. The well still waits in every open field, where thirst and longing meet beneath the sun, and each soul carries some sealed waiting place, until love comes and says, the day is done. So let the shepherd come with patient hands, and let the traveler keep his set-apart flame. For all our roads, if they are walked with truth, will lead at last to one good name. Yahowah. One good name, Yahowah.
Imagine being drawn back to that time, being able to experience, life 4,000 years ago. I just think that would be.
No, not for me. No internet.
Well, yeah, there's no internet, there's no electricity, there's no hot water.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, no indoor plumbing. I mean,
Bugs.
It would be a very different world. I wouldn't want to try to live in it. We don't have the skill sets to
No, we
live in
don't.
it, just
No.
as they don't have the skill
We
sets.
don't have the immune system for it either.
Yeah, and
I don't
have
know.
the immune system and the skill sets for
I don't know.
either.
Nothing really changes for me. Nothing really changes for me. So,
You could fit
living
right
in a
in.
land down by the river. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, oh,
Absolutely.
wow. Okay. How about you, Mike? I know I couldn't.
Our immune system went. Yeah, we'd die like right away. I think because of all the germs.
I don't think we have the skill sets. And listen,
Some
I
predator
was
would
a
eat
Boy
us.
Scout, and I did lots and lots and lots of backpacking, and in my day, so I know what it's like to live in a tent. But we had our Coleman stoves when not the big guys, but we had the little guys, and dry light food and very spiffy tents that you could put in a backpack and put up in 3 minutes and down sleeping bags and we all the good stuff for hiking in the high Sierras. That's a lot different than what they had. They had just a little bit of comfort. Like when you go backpacking, you always have an air mattress that protects your body from the cold sink of the ground and becomes a little more comfortable for you to put down your sleeping bag. And those things didn't exist.
No, they used hay. They used hay.
Which is far better.
They used hay.
Yeah, they used hay. Yeah, that's what they used. Or feathers. They
Yeah,
used
plant
hay.
material.
Straw.
I would be thrilled to pieces going back to that time. I hate technology.
Really?
Give it. I would be thrilled. I would love it.
Ew, no.
You would?
No.
So we've got three.
About it.
You're not even speaking, Kirk, but we already know you. I mean, you're
Yeah,
Mr.
Kirk and I-
Analog.
Kirk and I are gonna hang out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
long as there's pencils, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and paints.
I could go with charcoal.
we know we had paint back into the Stone Age, so
You got paint.
you know.
grind your own, right?
I'll be your
Yeah,
assistant,
ink.
Kirk.
Oh wow, Perry would consider it too.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
we
Actually,
got a
most
small
of the
group.
monuments you see in ancient Greece and Persia were all colored. They're it's
Oh, sure.
yeah, it's a proven fact they were all colored. So the ancients were really into paint.
But you have to have blue. There's two things they use. They were gum arabic and they use egg yolk. And I'm an egg temper painter, so it's real easy to make. And it'll stay. You'll find them
Right.
today in Egypt.
and okay, well, see, your guys are all set. We've got
I
at
can
least
decorate your tent.
you can decorate my tent. That's.
It'd be a nice place to visit.
I was kind of
So I
hoping
wouldn't wanna-
Leia. I was kind of hoping Leia would decorate my tent, but that's okay. I appreciate the thought, Kyle.
She'll light up your tent. I'm just decorator.
Yes.
You grow the cotton to weave the fabric.
So, what's everybody's thoughts about Leah, Jacob, and Rachel? What do you think about that relationship? Why were those three chosen in that role? How did they you think they perform? Why is Jacob called a worm? Did Jacob wrestle with Satan or with Yahowah? Did he actually see the things that he claims he saw, or was he seeing things quite literally?
Or
Wasn't
I'll go
Jacob
first.
name
I'll
changed
go
to
first.
Israel?
He was his name. While he retains the name Jacob, which is not a great name. It's one of the most negative names certainly among the patriarchs, by far the most negative. But he's also called Israel. So it's not so much as you look at Abram being renamed Abraham, and Abraham replaces what was Abram. That isn't the case with Jacob. And we really don't have Yahweh himself declaring the name change, and it's certainly not a replacement. It is a naming convention. It's the most interesting naming convention there is, because we've talked about this before, but I don't think that it probably is resonating with the intended audience. But those who call themselves Jews have no clue what they're talking about. There is no such thing as a Jew. The first use of Jew was in the 17th century. Right. And even then, what it did is it erased Yahweh's name from his people's name. It was a terrible, terrible, tragic mistake, repulsive. So Yehud is a compound of Yahweh's name and Dod's name, means beloved of Yah. Right. To go from Yehud to Jew is to erase your connection with Yahweh, who is God, and your King and Messiah, who is Dod. That's a great travesty. But from an ethnicity, if you go back even to Yehud and to Yisrael, they are both naming conventions because both were purebred Babylonian. Sarah and Abraham were Babylonian. And when they gave birth to Yishak, laughter, he is Babylonian, 100% Babylonian. And then when Yishak sought a wife, they send him to Haran, and he picked a bride from the relatives of Abraham and Sarah. And the same thing was true with his sons. And one of his Ishak's firstborn is Esau. His secondborn is Jacob. They're both Babylonians. And when Israelites are associated with Edom, or they hear Edom, they think of foreigner and beneath them. Same thing they think when they hear of Moab. But Moab is Lot and his daughters, who were Abraham's nephew.
They're cousins.
And cousins, cousins.
Exactly.
And, nephew. And then you're dealing with Esau, and he's full twin of Jacob.
Yeah.
People forget that.
Yeah, and I guess they don't want to think of that, because Edom is the descendants of Esau, and he's the full twin of Jacob. And so Jacob and Esau are purebred Babylonians too. Mm-hmm. And there's one day that Jacob gets the additional name Yisrael. It is a naming convention. His ethnicity and his genes did not change. And then when Jacob and Leah have a son named Yehud, from which the Jew was ultimately derived, it's a naming convention. It's a name. His ethnicity was pure Babylonian.
So then, Yada, what is the genetic marker for a Yehud? Is that Babylon that we're looking at? Is that really just? I have to think that through. I guess it's
J1.
Yeah, it's called J1, but yes, it all goes back to Babylon.
And the foundation of Babylon is J1.
Yeah, the foundation of Babylon. Okay. And when you look at, Noach and
I study archaeogenetics.
Yeah, Noach and his sons did not repopulate all Homo sapiens. They did all Homo sapiens with the Nesama. And it was Shem, the name of names, that his descendants became the Babylonians. They were between the Mesopotamians, between the two rivers. So they were the Assyrians, the Babylonians, Sumer, and the like. And that's the line that you're following, and it's essentially Babylonian until and Noach is Mesopotamia, He's from Mesopotamia, between the two rivers. So ultimately, Yehud, which is now called Jew, which is a tragic corruption of the term because it separates the people from Yahweh, and Yisrael, both are naming conventions.
Yeah.
That's really something to consider. That's why it was so interesting. I don't know if you know it or not, but on their first date, where Boaz is talking to Ruth, and he's posed some interesting questions to Ruth by way of statements. It's like, should I tell all the other guys not to touch you? He doesn't say, I have told all the other guys not to touch you, but it's more like, should I tell all the other guys not to touch you? Okay. Oh, and I want you to stay here, just on this this right here. This is where you belong. You don't go anyplace else. And it even begins. It says, should you choose to listen to what I'm saying, I don't want you to go anyplace else, and I want you to, you're not very good at this gleaning thing yet, so I want you to follow the example of all of the other women that I have in my little cloistered group of women here. And he's trying his best to say, I want you to be part of my group of women, and I want you to stay here in my world, and I want you to tell me to tell all the other guys that they shouldn't touch you. But he's kind of a little bit he's coy about it.
But he wants to get her approval for it.
Yeah, free will and all. Which is then interesting because she then surrenders her free will.
She's like,
after all of that, she just falls right down on her platypus and reverses Chahwah, and she completely surrenders her free will and says, "This is the most magnificent thing, but why are you being so kind to me? Why are you being so receptive to me? Why are you being such a gentleman to me? No one has ever done anything like this for me before." And then she says something that is just stunning. She uses the verb nakar, and she claims that he is nakar. And then she tells him that she is the nakara. So here you've got,
that's bold.
Yeah, bold.
You are the nakar.
That is his in another life. That is his single most important title. Title that's introduced with a full chapter in the Torah, and then throughout the prophets. And she refers to him as by the verbal root of nakar, which is spelled exactly the same way. And then she says, "I'm the nakara."
Oh my God, that makes so much sense now how Shlomo figured it out. That's why he's called wise. He knows who knows who we are.
Oh, of course. We raised him. We raised him. You forget his father was a really lousy husband, and his father was a lousy father. You can't have been a worse husband or father. Well, you had some experience. Yaakov was. But next to Yaakov, Dod was a really crappy husband and father. We raised him. Bathsheba wasn't exactly somebody you wanted to trust with your son either. No, you raised him. That's why he knew.
Well, yeah.
What an amazing story for her to make that pronouncement. And then he goes, and tells everybody, okay. He said, I have done a full investigation of this woman. I know everything there is to know about her. And you come here, you sit right here, and he hand feeds her. And then he gives, it literally hand feeds her. And then he tells every one of his team, and he has men and women who are working for him. And he tells all of them, he says, you stay out of her way. You have to remember that you are never going to say anything unkind to her, ever. You are never to criticize her. You're never to get her way. You're never to rebuke her in any way. And then he says to his team, he says that you've gone through these fields and you have created omars. You've bundled the grain for transport that you have harvested. I want you to go unbundle it. And I want her to have it. I want you to unbundle it, and I want her to have it. And then, oh, by the way, don't you dare criticize her. I don't want to hear any nasty statement from any of you about her at any time, under any circumstances.
Don't even touch her.
And then,
don't even touch
so then
her.
when he goes into town and says, okay, we got the Torah rules, and we've been playing by the whole story thus far is played out by Torah standards. And so there's a Torah standard that because she was married to Naomi's son, therefore there is a right as to whose responsibility it is now that she is a widow to take responsibility for her. So he knows the Torah. Yeah, he's been guided there's whole modus operandi in Torah. And so he holds a meeting with all the elders and says, it's your job. You are the closest relative. This is your opportunity to claim her. Now, he has already told the world, don't you dare touch her. He's already had her feeding her out of her hand. He's told everybody she's staying in my fields. I'm protecting her, and she's mine. But you can go ahead and if you want to jump in there, big boy. And oh, by the way, his name means unassailable, undeniable, exceedingly powerful. You know the Wizard of Oz?
Mm-hmm.
He is Oz. He is he's Oz.
Oz with strength.
Yeah, he's Oz. And
vigor.
So, and of course, they all say, I'll toss it in my shoe, and I'm tossing it in my shoe. It ain't me. I'm not getting in your way, pal. I can read the barley. I can read the barley kernels here. It's all you.
I guess that whole you're the knocker and I'm your nakara really made an impression.
It made an impression. Well, that made an impression. The thing that really made an impression, Boaz was very in tune with Yahweh.
Yes.
Exceedingly. His whole life revolved around Yahweh. He was blessed with all of this because of Yahweh. And when she's still down there at his feet and negating the curse of Chawah, using her name to resolve that, he says, listen, I know who you are. Yahweh has told me that he is personally going to fulfill your life's work. And it repeats it twice. So, at that point, we're not dealing with some ordinary woman. She is not, this is not an ordinary love story.
No.
And that's why very shortly thereafter, when he questions again, now you tell me again, who are you? And he's not asking who she is.
He knows.
He knows exactly who she is. And she knows who she is, which is why she answers, I'm your Amma. Yeah. And I'm going to deliver the kinsman redeemer to you. What a great story.
That's something that I find very, very striking. Through great pain, we have two significant women. We have Ruth and we have Leah.
Through
one
great pain.
Delivered Israel,
great pain,
and the other, and the other delivered the kinsman redeemer. Which where would we be without either one? So for somebody who says, well, Yahweh only works through men and men are the real players or whatever. Yeah, the numbers point to more men, but the significance, and it was born out of pain. It wasn't glorious per se.
Well, I'm going to respond to you, but could you, Kevin, cue up the Ruth song that we have played on previous? That's the one where she's in the harvest field. But let me. There is and so many aspects to all of this, but Ruth had a life where she was completely rejected. And what is so amazing about this is that she figured out something that Leah figured out when we first met. We hadn't been together maybe a week, 8 years ago. And she had also had a very abusive husband and a very abusive life. Mm-hmm. And she'd been and always is, a very bold, bright woman. And yet she had been, cowered into a fraction of who she once was. And the very first thing that she wanted to do was surrender. She just wanted to say, I want to trust you with my life. The term that we would normally use just doesn't work in human and English parlance, but it's a submission. I want to submit my will to your will. I trust you. This is the greatest opportunity I've ever had to be able to fulfill my destiny, everything I've ever wanted to achieve. But the way to do that is I'm going to trust you with me. This is what Ruth did. And rather than Ruth being the submissive, by having made that decision, it empowered her, because for the rest of her life and every other life, Boaz and all of his reiterations valued her life more than his own. Mm-hmm. She actually controlled and owned him by surrendering to him. And it is, ladies. Yeah, it is really, it is really and I don't say it would work with everybody, and I'm not telling anybody else to do it. No. I'm just telling that she has done it multiple times in her life, and this is the result of having done it. It turned out to be the most empowering, enabling thing ever. And so a woman who had nothing but abuse and being treated as if she didn't matter, all of a sudden mattered most of all when she didn't try to matter. That's right. Which is, by the way, the theme of the last song that we just saw.
That's a great template, right?
Yeah, it is a great template. It is. I've always been a very strong-willed individual, and some time ago I said, my free will is just at this point a nuisance. I'll just give it to you. Might as well. I mean, at this point, any decision I make would just be an annoyance to the whole thing and get in the way. So let's just work as if I'm here to do whatever you want done. It's working out just fine. Let's just continue this. I think it's tremendously empowering, and and that kind of surrender is the ultimate in liberation, but you better know who you're doing it with.
Exactly.
You better know who you're doing it with.
Yes.
So Kevin, can we play the beautiful
I will go where you go?
I think that's it. Yes, I go where you go. Oh yeah, of course. That's the lyric. I go where you go. Your God, my God. Your people, my people.
Were nothing when hunger called and hope wore thin. She came to glean where grain grew, a woman of measure, steadfast and true. Through grain and sun, through toil and need, she walked in trust, she learned to heed. And in the wind that moved the wheat, she found a shelter strong and complete. I will go where you go, where you settle I will remain. Your people be my people, let your Elohim remember my name. Where you are, a memorial will be there. I will go where you call me, to the family for doubt's sake, for the one who redeems and gathers us in Yahowah's name. Yahowah's name. Boaz stood as a tower of strength, kindness measured wide in length. He saw the gleaner in the field, and by his word her fear was healed. He spread his wings of cover and shown her peace, a covenant of quiet release. And over grain and over night he turned her gathers us in Yahowah's name. Was written, not in ease but in returning, not in taking but in giving, not in distance but in drawing near, through thirst, through hunger, through the harvest, through the field and the promise, through Yahowah's family and the strong one who sows the grain. Kinsmen come in thunder, let the covenant be like a rainbow sea, let Yahowah's name be lifted bodily, bright and clear, pure and clean, for doubt sings of knowing and healing, of a Father who calls us near, and root with Boaz stands as a witness, love made flesh and truth made clear. I will go where you go, where you settle I will remain, your people be my people, let your Elohim remember my name. Where you are, a memorial will be there. I will go where you call me, to the family for doubt's sake, for the one who redeems and gathers us in Yahowah's name.
That is actually how I picture Bethlehem. That's much how I picture Ruth and Boaz. But that is one thing I would really love to see, is the shimmering of barley blowing in the wind. And she was there for both the barley and a wheat's harvest. So for Pesach, Matzah, Bekurim, and then again for Shavua, where all of her energy is focused on Towrah. So it's the whole full measure of the Mikra. One of the things interesting too is that she only lakots. She follows those who ketzir. To ketzir is to harvest. Lakot is to glean. They're very different things. Now, both are an ingathering and a cough, but a lakot is a secondary harvest. You come after the harvest and you pick up what the harvesters have left. So and that's what her focus is. That is what Teruah is, which is the day, ultimately the day of the Nakar. And now we know it's the day of the Nakar and the Nakara. I sense there will be a gathering. My people or your people, where you go, I go, part 2. Now that we are getting closer to the full translation and inspirational insights into Ruth and Boaz, my guess is we'll have an addition to that. There is, and part of it is just there's 2 scenes in particular. Where she's had this rough life and she finally has a man that gets her, and he's clearly smitten by her. He knows her inside and out, and she falls at his feet, and the first thing he does is reach down so that she can soar. And she's not just soaring with him, she's soaring with God. And can you imagine having gone through all she's gone through, and then to trek from Moab up to Bethlehem in the heart of Yehuda, and be told, yeah, not only is your God my God, but my God knows you really well. He likes you a lot. Yeah, it might be mind blowing. So I'd love to see that, and I would love to see the scene.
Yeah, more. That's our story as well.
No, of course it is. Yeah, and I just love to see the scene where This is now the final harvest, and she sneaks in. He's had a really wonderful time with his team, and they finished the harvest, and she sneaks in and by his feet and again and goes underneath his covering, and she under those circumstances then tells him that, I am the Amma, and I'm going to deliver the kinsman redeemer. I would love to see those two scenes set to music and play out, because I think they are magnificent.
They're going to have to involve a yacht and a girl, because that is exactly where it happened. It happened on Kara.
Yes.
Yeah. Where I waited an excruciating 2.5 hours to show you Mizmor 89.
Yep.
I thought I was going to pee myself.
Yeah.
Finally, I just got really bold with him, and I said, "No, you must stop what you're doing.
You must stop what you're doing.
You have to read this."
Well, and that was life altering, but so was the 31st Mashal.
Definitely.
Yes, Mike.
Did you notice there's two different words for kinsman?
Yeah, there are.
Mm-hmm.
So in Ruth 2:1, I'm reading the King James, so pardon.
Yes.
And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. That word for kinsman is H4129, and it's based on Yada. So be questioning Yada or who is Yada?
No, it's based on Yada.
Based on Yada. Yeah.
Yeah, it is as if I don't think
it's Moda H4129.
Yeah, Moda. It's what it is to ponder the implications of Yada. Is what the word means, and it is very, very different than Gaal, which is the word for kinsman redeemer. So yes,
in chapter 4, when the kinsman in chapter 4, Ruth chapter 4 is Gaal.
Mm-hmm. And it's the most powerful term for kinsman redeemer. It's addressing Dode for the most part, but Dode is the ultimate kinsman redeemer. Both Boaz and Ruth are kinsman redeemers because they redeem Dode. Dode is gone. I mean, he fell so far away from Yahowah, they weren't talking anymore, and it really became an awful situation. And so they intervened to redeem Dode, and then of course they became his parents prior to the fulfillment of Pesach Matzah B'Kodim in 33 CE. And I think that is really the most poignant thing. Will, you mentioned the out of suffering. Dode is, when he's writing this 22nd Mizmor, he has just finished discussing the excruciating pain of crucifixion and how he is going to be crucified on Passover. And before he talks about his journey into hell, he tells us the comfort that he received from his mother. We've just all passed by it because it just was so awkward in the middle of that presentation between fulfilling Pesach by being crucified and going into hell. And in the midst of that, right in between them, he's praising his mother, telling how much his mother meant to him, which means that the only reason he's there is that he had an appropriate experience with his mother at that time. He actually has a reference to his father, but he uses a different term. And the reference to his father suggests that his father accompanied him. So he wasn't alone in Sheol. But that's pretty profound.
Yeah.
So he knew a lot of pain too.
Certainly.
Yeah. I think of all the stories, the Torah, prophets, and Psalms, this is the favorite of Yahweh. I think he is actually telling his love story through them. and it is a great story of redemption, of tragedy turned to triumph.
And the whole go ask Ruth thing in a dream shows he has a very big sense of humor.
Yeah, I know. We're tracing down through the 31st Mashal, and we're reading this about this woman's advice to Dode that salvages the son, tells him who he is, and tells him that, you're really crappy around women. You treat women very poorly. We need to get you sobered up, stop drinking the wine, act the part. You are the son of God. You need to know who you are and get a grip on yourself. And we find out that she is the Amma because of that. And then we turn to Ruth, who announces that she's the Amma. And Leah found me because Yahweh told her to go ask Ruth. And when she asked Ruth, she read that about this Amma. And she said, I have to find out who this woman is. And I was the only person writing about a feminine aspect of Yahweh through the Ruach, which I call in this chapter that I'm writing, the best mistake I ever made. I took Ruach and I extrapolated it, said, okay, Yahweh has a Ruach, therefore he has a maternal aspect to his nature. Well, no, he doesn't, but he has a Ruach and it's a feminine aspect. And I extrapolated the Ruach through matzah because I hadn't discerned, and no one in human history had discerned what actually happened on matzah, or how the Twistians got this notion that their Jebus went into hell because Dode did. And that's what he's writing about, is going into Sheol. And what he did is he took our guilt and deposited there, never to be seen again. We don't need a garment of light that's supplied by the Ruach. And then you look at the Moed Mikre, where we're asked to walk into the presence of the Isha, which is woman and fire. And you say, well, maybe that is that garment of light. That was the original try to explain what was going on. And yet then after a while that no, what God is saying is, I need to transform you out of physical bodies. And fire is the thing that consumes the physical body and turns it into radiant light and energy. That is what I'm offering you through these Moed Mikre. And you see, that's the transformative effect of it. And then you go and you learn over time that the ending that takes a word from masculine to feminine, or the oath ending if it's in some cases, like Maoreth, it's a masculine noun luminary that has the feminine ending, that when you take a masculine concept, Adam, and you make it Adama, what you have done is you have expanded on the fullness of and the completion of what was being discussed. Par being bull, and you make it para. It does not make it a girly bull. That doesn't make it a girly cow. And Adama para is not a red heifer. It expands on the fullness and the completeness of the thing being discussed. It's like if you take all the positive attributes of man and you blend them with all the positive attributes of woman, you create a marriage of those things, then you have synergy and you're in a position to produce life, to cultivate life. And so Etz, which is tree, which is masculine, is presented as Etzah when it's the full scope of that tree, the full canopy of that tree, providing shade for the entire story that God has. So then you realize, oh, that's what the feminine meaning, the purpose of the feminine on these masculine concepts. And so we ended up doing the mama-ectomy to say this is what it actually means here. It doesn't change the fact that Ruach's a feminine noun. It just doesn't make Yahweh feminine. And as a matter of fact, in the place we just read in the Luminary series, when Yahweh deploys his spirit, the verb that he uses to describe the deployment of his spirit, he says he did this and he did that. But if I hadn't made that mistake and corrected it very late in the process, I never would have met Leah. she found me because I was the only person writing about the Ruach being feminine and maternal. So, as I said, it's the best mistake I ever made. And making mistakes is part of the process. That's what God is looking for, because if you don't make any mistakes, you can't demonstrate that you're able to correct that mistake and learn from it. That means you can't prove that you can be trusted.
Don't waste them.
So yeah, it's how you look at science, for example, not science the way it is today, where it's so political. But the whole concept with science is that you come up with a hypothesis and then you test for that hypothesis.
Yeah.
And if the tests show the hypothesis to be false, you come up with a new hypothesis and you test for it until you find something that might even be better. Doesn't mean you completely discard the other one, but you now have something that's more refined. It is one of the most rational processes to evaluate evidence.
Yeah. Scientific method.
And the scientific method is what that is. And that is the exact same concept of having this hypothesis that the spirit being feminine would adorn the soul in a garment of light to cover over or hide the guilt, as opposed to depositing that guilt in Sheol, and the Isha, that fire that we're asked to approach during the Mikra, is not a garment of light. It is the transformative effect of physical bodies that surround our souls being transformed into light and energy. And so you're able to adopt this new hypothesis and support it when you learn that it's a much better explanation for the evidence. And that is the scientific method, and that's the approach we have used from the beginning. And I think it's an approach that God really likes.
Good.
So it's not a garment of light. We are that light.
We become the light. Yeah, we're transformed into the light. It's the whole purpose of
it's
of
not outerwear. It's
not outerwear. It's one of the reasons
it's
why.
Innerwear.
Yeah, it's innerwear. Yeah, it's innerwear. It's why I decided here 6 months ago to encourage everybody within the covenant family to express themselves, to engage, because the transformation to light and the elevation from 3 to 7 dimensions is so extraordinary that God can't responsibly do it if you haven't shown that you're trustworthy. He just can't do it. It would be grotesquely irresponsible for him because of the damage you could do. And the likelihood that you would act up at some point and do something stupid. And when you're a 7-dimensional being, you can absolutely control 6 dimensions just with your thoughts and your words. You could wipe out entire galaxies.
To have someone untrustworthy in a 7-dimensional aspect
for eternity
is catastrophic.
Oh, catastrophic. So God's got to have this method of doing that, because the transformation is literally us. We're becoming that light. And so God has to be very careful deciding who to do that with, which is why we need to be tested. And being tested means that you start off with some glitches sometimes. I know a guy here that did his first show without ears, and had some really bad audio, but had good content but bad audio. And then he learned the value of ears when doing a show like this, and then had a second one that was just magnificent, where the audio quality improved. So we grow and we learn. Although I was told that it wasn't really Will's mistake, it was Kevin's. So
yeah.
Well, if it wasn't for Kevin,
he's an easy target.
Yes, that's true, because he's the guy making it happen.
He is.
Yeah, he's not just an easy target. He's the only target, because he's the guy making it happen. And so we ought to be pretty grateful. But if we weren't kidding you, then he wouldn't be the guy.
Right.
It's the company Brinkley Hour on the internet every day. What a news program.
Well, even if here, when you come to be part of this program, how do you join this program, Kirk?
Well, plug in and go to the internet.
Yes, based upon the invitation that Kevin has sent out, right?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Without him, I don't get in.
That's right.
The money, there's an envelope.
Yeah, there's an envelope at the door. Yeah, so it's quite a story, and the more you get into the story, the more beautiful the story becomes, and it's so many different layers. And the beauty of the story is that Yahweh made a decision 6,000 years ago, or even further back than that, that he was not going to overpower the situation, and that if the human experiment was going to work, then he was going to work it through humans. And it's interesting as to how he picked a handful of humans and said, I'm going to work it through these people. I don't think there's really many times that they worked alone. I think there's always what we have right here, a tremendous support. But that's how he decided he was going to make it play. I think it's absolute genius the way that he did it. And when you're one of those people and you're married to one of those people, it becomes a really odd experience reading about yourself. I'll tell you that's really odd. Yeah, it just, it does. It blows your mind. And we were talking at lunch today that, all right, we know of all of Moshe's warts, and he bungled it big time, many times, in addition to being magnificent. We know Dode. He was at times magnificent. At times he was a real dunderhead. We know Abraham was, sound a little bit here and there. I mean, he did the right thing on Moriah, but for the most part, he was kind of a dunderhead. Why aren't we told of the failures of Chinook, of Noach, of Boaz? We're not told of their failures. We're not told of a failure. We're told of some of the heartbreak of Ruth, but we're not told of anything where she had a Moshe meltdown or a Dode tizzy fit, and that's a little frightening for me. We talked about it at lunch, and we didn't get a good answer on it. Why don't we have their flaws aired like we do everybody else's?
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
Either we were more careful, considerate, but I think also that what we do to complete the job takes any foible we may have away. Like, I'm not by any means a perfect person. I don't want to be. I don't believe in any type of perfection. You can't see it anywhere in the universe.
No, and I'm not speaking of perfection. There is no such thing as perfection. No. God would hate it. God's not even perfect.
Yeah.
And God would despise it tremendously.
Anyone would.
Yeah, but the only conclusion I have come to so far in it is that it's about roles. Moshe had a role to play. Dode has a role to play. Dode's is the most important role, and we have to see Dode grow into his role and achieve his role and overcome. But the role of Boaz, whatever name you want to have along the way, of 8 different times, and of Ruth, she may have even had more deployments depending on whether or not she was Leah or not. But and I hope for her sake she wasn't. But their role is simply to support and to resolve. They're fixers, and
we are hyper fixers.
We're the fixers.
We're hyper fixers.
We're making sure that that everybody else can finish their job. So we're just fixers. We're put in, and when things are a mess, God says, "Okay, we got another mess. Clean up on aisle Dode. Clean up on aisle Nephalim. Clean up on the entire 2 millennia, the last 2 millennia." It's a really big mess out there. But this time I'm going to give you I'm going to give you 32 years to get it done. That ought to be enough to get her done. So I think we're just fixers. I think it's there. You're not going to see the fixer stumble because the job of the fixer is to fix it.
Fix it.
Yes, Mike.
In Ruth 1:8, Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, the word for daughters-in-law is H3618.
Kala.
And it's based on H3634, which is kala, which means to complete,
finish,
and
fulfill. Complete, finish, and fulfill.
Yeah.
You found it. Oh, of course. Make a very, very big deal about that because the term that is used for mother-in-law means hot-headed, which Naomi turned out to be. And the term for daughter-in-law means that she was there to finish, to complete, and fulfill. And that is the very job. That is exactly what Boaz says, as Yahweh told me, that he is going to fulfill your life's work. You are about finishing and completing and fulfilling. Yes, you found it. That's the beauty of this narrative. I don't know who wrote it. I suspect Boaz wrote it.
Me too.
That's why he named it Ruth. That's why I think in the 31st Mashal, I think it's Ezra Hayazraki that wrote it, which is why he just refers to himself as the husband. As I think that's the author of both of them. But throughout both of them, almost every sentence has a little treasure, a little jewel like that. But yeah, you could do my job. You found them. Exactly. Yeah, you found Yada and the introduction. Yeah, you found Yada in the introduction to Boaz, and you found fulfill, complete, and finish, and the definition of Ruth's role relative to Naomi.
I love our fact check.
Yeah.
And, that's why we're going to keep you around.
We have the best fact checker. But
let's pack it up. Hand him the keys. Hand him the keys. Let's pack it up.
I vote we keep him around, Yada.
Yeah. I've hinted at the fact that we now with a number of you doing really, really excellent work on these vlogs, the family vlogs. That all I want somebody step up and say, I'm gonna take on the big guy's job, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna toss you the keys to. I'm gonna give you my cameras, my lights, my microphone. You go, girl or guy, you go. I'm ready. I don't.
Maybe we can take a vacation.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I don't anticipate it happening, but I think it's going to be wonderful in support. I just don't think that I'm going to get to retire anytime soon. The thing that was the most...
we know your exact retirement date.
348 days.
Yeah.
Plus 1,000 years.
Yeah, I've been negotiating with Yah on a little vacation time. And so we'll see how that works out. But the thing that was the most interesting, and you haven't come to it yet, Mike, but you given time, you would. The hardest part of Ruth, and if I was the book of Ruth, and if I had tried to translate it a year ago, I would have stopped dead in the first chapter. I would not have gotten out of the first chapter. Ruth uses Shaddai in reference to Yahweh. And that's not the biggest issue, but I'll get to that. Shaddai is a very different word title, depending if you define it at its beginning or its end. If you use the SHD, it's demonic and it's destructive. If you use the Deleth Yod at the end to define it, then it is sufficient and adequate, and it presents God as saying, I'm going to give you everything you need to get this done, but I'm not going to overwhelm the situation. And so Shaddai in the right hands is the SH, which would be the nourishing words of sufficiency, which is a really important concept for how God works through these 5 individuals. So it doesn't overpower the situation. He gives them enough to succeed, and he gets the job done. He has his closers, his finishers, his fixers. But Ruth is not Ruth, but Naomi is clearly using the word demonic and derogatory.
She doesn't like Yahweh.
And then she says, don't you dare call me Naomi, because Naomi means favored. I'm not favored. Yahweh has responded to me. And Shaddai is ra'ah towards me.
Wow.
Evil.
Evil. She called him evil.
Evil, maniacal, twisted. Yes. And so you read that and you say, how do I go forward from here? Because Naomi is a sympathetic character in the rest of the book. How do you go forward from here? And that speech is, your God is my God, your people are my people, where you go, I go. How is that even possible? And the answer is actually exceedingly important.
It is.
Naomi is Israel.
She is.
That is Israel's impression of Yahweh. They view Yahweh as evil.
That's why
they erased his name. That's why they don't use his name. That's why they wrote over his Torah with the Talmud. That's why they replaced Yahud with Jew. It's why the religion of Judaism exists instead of the covenant. During the Holocaust, they held a trial, put God on trial. They view God as evil.
Absolutely.
That's why they have a Hashem that they have crafted in their own image.
Mm-hmm.
She is Israel. And rather than Ruth converting to Judaism, as the rabbis say, Ruth destroys Judaism. She's the antidote for Judaism.
Mm-hmm.
She resolves this horrible attitude of Israel. She fixes Ruth. Ruth actually becomes a sympathetic character again. Naomi. Naomi becomes Naomi again, favored and delightful. But it's because Ruth fixes Naomi. Just as the job of Ruth ultimately is to deliver the Redeemer, she fixes Israel. That's the underlining theme of the whole book. And she realizes, just like Deborah before, Deborah, who I don't think was married. I think that it's misinterpreted, and I think Barak was actually her main dude. Whether they're married or not, it's irrelevant. But they were a team. Deborah, very strong, bright woman, but she knew she wasn't going to get her done alone. So she partnered with a man. Ruth, exactly the same thing. And so it's Ruth partnering with Boaz that saves Israel. Now, if I were Yahweh, I think I would have put Ruth's name on the column on the temple. But that wasn't God's choice. He did put Boaz's there. But they are a team. And Ruth didn't convert to Judaism. She converted Naomi out of Judaism and into the covenant.
I have just one last thing to say to Naomi and who she represents.
Yes.
Which are my people.
Yeah.
Yehuda. And that is this. If you want to keep your Hashem and your Adonai, you will die in that.
Absolutely. You'll remain Mara, which Naomi says, you can't call me favored because I am Mara. Mm-hmm. She was still in the bitterness of the Exodus and the waters of Meribah. That's where she still was. That's where Israel still is. Mm-hmm. That's why we have to have the time of troubles for them to stop trusting Judaism and their politicians and their IDF and the like. But Israel's still there. The Jews are still there. They're still Mara, just as
Mara.
Yeah.
Embittered.
Mm-hmm. Mara.
Childish, moronic, children
Rebellious.
who have made a god after their own image.
Yeah,
and it's horrifying.
They're like every other religious group. They made their own god in their image. Hashem is their rabbinical god.
You have furthermore conceived every single religion that would come back to bite you in the tuchus, to murder you, to rape you, to pillage you, including Islam, Christianity.
Yes.
And God knows what else.
Oh, yeah. The Jews created not only Judaism, but Christianity and Islam, and played a very significant role in the creation of Marxism, each of the doctrines that are destroying them today.
And atheism, which is a religion. The world will come crashing in around you for you to realize that what you have done is so vile and disgusting that it will hurt. On the other side of this, there's one way out. Just one.
Yeah, there's one way out. Few will take it, however, but we're going to continue to share it. And I think this story of Leah at the well and Ruth, your people, my people, your God, my God, where you go, I go, is just a marvelous way of encouraging everyone to follow. Ruth is an exemplar. Many times she is referred to as a witness, but it's a witness by example, and a lot of times that example stuff.
I can tell you what Ruth would say if she were sitting in this chair right now.
And she is.
She is.
Yisrael, who's your daddy?
Yeah, who's your daddy? Yeah, who's your daddy? Yeah, she knows who her daddy is, but you don't know who your daddy is at Israel. And that's the meaning of Coach of Moab is who's your daddy. But it's amazing too that the Ruth, the woman from Moab, which is related, of course, to Israel, and she would end up marrying the man from Edom, and that's Yaakov's twin brother. So we are going to bring the whole house together, even though it's got some incest and it's got some
family
deceit and treachery in the midst of it. But we're going to figure out a way to bring it all together. God's got a fixer, and I'm sure we're going to have a talk one of these days and say, all right, yeah, I mean, I get that you needed a fixer, but. Maybe there's like most toolboxes have a bunch of tools. You don't just have a hammer. You got saws and chisels and screwdrivers and the like. You ever considered using a different tool? Next time you need a damn boat.
I know the answer to this. I absolutely know the answer to this. And the answer to this is that there's a certain reliability with certain tools.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Familiar. I like that tool. It worked really well the last time. Why should I change it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that tool works
Functions
really
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Put that tool out, built a damn boat, and resolved an Osama man. Oh man, I lost complete track of and control of my son. That man, he fixed him. Oh, my people had rejected my son, rejected my name, denied everything I had told them. Sent them back in and got her resolved. Okay, so if maybe it's just a flashlight is the tool that he's using in there, but if the flashlight worked, keep on using the flashlight, I guess.
Good analogy.
Yeah. Look at the Swiss Army knife. You have all these different
Swiss knife.
A multi-tool.
Yeah.
Right.
Corkscrew.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that the single tool that he deploys is an Osama. If the soul is an entry, he likes the soul. It's an interesting soul. Yeah, I always tell my wife that, and she gets frustrated with me sometimes. You go to the same restaurants, you order the same meal, and I say, yep, it's I like routine. I'm sticking with the same wife, the same house. same dogs. This is my life. I like my life, and I just don't see any reason to mix it up. I'm just going to stick with the same wife and same house if it's all right with you. And I think that's kind of what God's whole deal is. Okay, I found a really comfortable soul. We seem to work really well together. But I think it's ultimately the Nesama. I think this Nesama functions. In a world where most Nesamas are broken or underused, this Nesama functions pretty darn well. And maybe that's the Swiss Army knife. Maybe that's the full cadre of tools in the toolbox is a functioning Nesama. And if you want to make it a power tool, so it's a power Nesama. So it's one of those tools. I remember bought one of those things where it's the multi-tool. One tool does all. It's
tool?
So it's you add 7 spirits, and all of a sudden you have a full functional tool that does it all. Maybe that's the whole deal. Well, we'll have a good chat about it, but I think that's the deal. It's a why deploy another. This plan is working. Yeah, it's working. Why should I fix it? And I think that he's gotten so comfortable with the whole thing that he doesn't have to futz over it. It's not like I've got to check in every day and say, oh well, is that going, or did he fall off the wagon? And no, I don't think. I just think it's mostly. Now, I don't want to make too much light of it, but almost giggles. It's like, all right, I put that kala in there, which everyone has translated daughter-in-law, but it means to finish and to fulfill. And then when Boaz tells Ruth that Yahweh has told him that he is going to finish and fulfill with him, guess what verb he uses?
Go.
Same one. Uses the exact same verb. So after a while, you have to say, all right, that's that was the intent of it right from the beginning, because he goes right back to the same verb. Yeah. And of course, this time they don't translate it as daughter-in-law. This time they translate it as finish and complete. Yahweh is going to finish, but it's Yahweh is going to finish and complete your work. Isn't that interesting? He doesn't say he's going to finish and complete his work. That means that he's chosen, I'm going to work with you. I know what your job is, and we're going to get her done. It's an important job.
If it ain't broke.
It ain't broke. It ain't broke. God says, don't fix it. All right. Well, I do, since it is 15 minutes prior to us having done 2 hours. I would never feel like we have done our job.
We're going to read some Torah, sorry?
We're going to read. We're going to read a little. We're going to read a little Torah, if y'all don't mind, just so that we can go through the rest of our Shabbat, knowing that we didn't just talk Torah. And talking Torah is a good thing, because what we have done is we've explored the insights that Yahweh has shared with us that are pertinent to us and to His people at this time. It tells us how our God is working with us and through us, and what He's trying to achieve with His people as a result of this. So it's a beautiful expression, and when you can express it not only in words like this, but also in lyrics, and it was once again a beautiful score by Depot. The music graphics that he has, the theatrical presentation there was really magnificent. That young man has real talent. We are so fortunate to have him.
We have another one of his coming up soon.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's something to do with a marriage, because it began with a veil, and you unveiled yourself. Yeah. I do know that little bit, because I was brought into to the unveiling. As a result of this relationship, the sons of God, that would be the descendants of Adam, because Adam was the firstborn of Yahweh. So the sons of God, they became dastardly dudes. It doesn't say that here, but I'm going to go paraphrase it for you. Came upon and pursued the daughters of man. These would be, again, women that were born with a nesoma, such that they were also in the line of Adam and Chawah through, we'd both have them through Cain and then through Seth. Came upon and pursued the daughters of the man, Adam, and they bore children to them. These were the individuals prone to aggressively asserting themselves over others while fighting, magnifying themselves as emboldened and confident warriors. Gabor is one of those terms. It's like everything, most everything else in Hebrew, where it can be good or bad. When you're fighting for Yahweh and his people and defending Yahweh's people, displaying confidence and courage on behalf of Yahweh, then Gabor is a really good term. Dod is the ultimate Gabor. He is the Gabor El, the Gabor of Yahweh, the most capable and competent man of Yahweh. And oh, by the way, when Boaz, who is, second really only to Dod in terms of this, he's the fixer of Dod, if you will, he's introduced in the first sentence of the second chapter of Ruth as Gabor. So Gabor can be really, really good, and it's mostly really good. But if you're emboldened and you're fighting, but not with Yahweh, then it's a really bad thing. So they were considered influential and heroic from the but they were despots from the very beginning, the most renowned individuals. So this is Bereshith, Genesis 6:4. Nesoma man had earned a Shem reputation for being Chalal, demonstrable, dishonorable, and deadly, with Rahab as they grew in numbers, so the more prolific humans became, the worse humans became. Man became Lakach, controlling, and Bashar, animalistic. The Nephilim, fallen, were particularly Bath, aggressive towards little girls. They were prone to be Gadol, emboldened, asserting themselves while picking fights. And while Gadol is an enduring trait when properly focused, God likes bold and courageous, both men and women, the rest was bad, and it continues to get worse. To mankind's disagreeable propensities, of course, then we must add ra'ah, depravity, and the misery that being wrong inflicts on others. Therefore, Yahweh saw ra'ah, viewed, perceived, and recognized that indeed the evil intent, the ra'ah, this written with the ain, the wickedness and the depravity, the propensity to be wrong, and the misery inflicted upon mankind in the land was excessive and great in magnitude. I mean, can you imagine the anguish of God? You create this universe, grand universe. You create this planet that's so conducive to life. You breathe your soul and this nesama, this great gift that, and all of the struggles we have now to create AI, and we can't get even AI to have the equivalent of a nefesh, consciousness. They want to make AI sentient, which would just mean that it would have a conscience, a consciousness, an ability to observe and respond. And that's nothing compared to the nesama, which is the ability to think, the ability to exercise good judgment, the ability to be moral. And so God is saying that I gave that to you, and I gave you this perfect, beautiful planet conducive to life, and I tried to engage with you, and it just didn't work out. And when I escorted you out of the protective enclosure, the kennel, if you will, so that you could have some life experiences and see if you could develop and grow and show yourself to be interesting and reliable and worthy. You became a mess. The more of you there were, the worse the mess became. Now what do you do? I created this life form for companionship, to enjoy sharing and exploring this universe with. And the lot of you have just become miserable. I regret having created you. And the more of you there are, the worse you became. And if we continue with this, it's just going to be an utter, unmitigated disaster. So, mankind became universally evil. And so mankind in the land was excessive, great in magnitude and quantity. In addition, every inclination, every predisposition, perspective, propensity, proclivity, and preoccupation of man, and his thoughts, his plans, his plots, his purposes, his musings and desires, his judgment and his motivations were exclusively raw.
An indictment.
Oh my. And so obviously the human experiment failed. Complete and utter catastrophe. It's literally a total and complete failure. Every single person, every solitary and single day, without exception, every person, every day, every thought, every inclination, every deed of man was raw, undesirable, without merit or value, evil, wicked, and immoral, repugnant, miserable, and troubling, harmful, and hindering. And keep in mind, it was Naomi who called Yahweh raw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's it's at that point it should have been over. And I know this is going to sound overly bold and maybe way over my pay grade to make this statement, but I'm going to make it anyway. I've made it once before, and I'm going to dig myself probably in a hole to say it again. Yahweh and Chinook got along pretty well. And at this point, Chinook's up there with Yahweh. He took him, and they're together. And Chinook's looking down at this too. He actually has been part of it in the past. He tried to shelter Adam from it, and he sheltered Adam almost all of his life, and stayed there even past the end of Adam's life. And he's now up with Yahweh and Shamayim. And Yahweh is despondent. He is looking down at his creation and said, every aspect of this is just a mess. It didn't work. Man's every thought, every deed, every action is miserable, malignant, and evil. There's no fixing this. I actually think that Noach, who is Chinook, said, mind if I try? I had the opportunity to get to know your firstborn, Dod. I see the potential in him. Let me try. Send me down with my wife again. Give us an opportunity to have another shot with Dod. He'll be Shem. We'll go it again. Give me some time.
So the boat was your idea.
I don't know if so much the boat, I think, but just the idea of let's try to fix this. Give us a try. Let's give it a chance. I think we can fix this. Listen, there are some things that just have to be. Does that have to be? No, but that's what I think happened. I was there after all. I do think that's what happened. But here I can tell you what is for certain. When Yahweh tells us that he spoke to Noach and didn't bother to tell us how Noach came to know him. And tells Noach, this is what we're going to build. This is the dimensions of it and how we're going to construct it. And Noach doesn't ever say, you want to do what? Who are you? I didn't say, okay.
Yeah.
Can you put the fleece and make the fleece wet and then make the
can you
dry,
do, can you and or Abraham saying, I've got no clue what you're trying to offer me. I don't have a son. And Yahweh has to go show him the sign of the stars and the universe and say, this is what I'm offering you. Or Moshe, drop your staff, put your hand in your shirt, and oh, by the way, we're going to have these great plagues, these 10 plagues, these great signs, and oh, by the way, I'm going to bring you right back to this same place, and the mountain's going to be all ablaze again, and that's going to be a sign. I'm going to part the sea for you. I mean, sign after sign after sign after sign. There is no job that was ever, at this point, it was the single biggest ask ever. You're going to build a 450-foot ship in the middle of nowhere. And it's, by the way, it's you and your 3 boys. And oh, by the way, you got 40 years to get her done. And you don't even ask for a sign. I might have asked for, I didn't, but can I have a forklift? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe no sign, but can I have a forklift?
And a crane.
Yeah, crane. I want a crane. Yeah, that's and maybe a mill to mill the timber, and maybe a forge. I actually think they did ask for something, and it's just not in the story because it doesn't need to be there. I would have become really familiar with the Malak by that time. I said, "All right, I'll go there, but I want a team of Malak. We're gonna do this together. Let's not be stupid about it. You give me command of the Malak, and that's the way we'll get it done." By the way, the reason I know.
I would have taken Noach's job over Moshe's job any day of the week.
Right.
Any day of the week.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
how was that?
Versus that?
I sort of took on both jobs. We'll talk about that on another day. I'm not saying that it was Moshe, but it was his dad, and Leah was his mom, and we have ample proof of that. And we went with him during the entire Exodus process. That life ended the same day as Moshe's. It's why the dates are the way they are. But when you realize that there is not a single request for a sign, they obviously had a really good relationship. They knew each other real well. And what Noach was asked to do, quite frankly, was impossible. A man with his 3 boys can't build a 450-foot ship of that size. Not without, you need scaffolding and cranes and lifts and glue lambs and pitch and bolts that would have to be forged and metallurgy. It's not possible. And so it's quite obvious that Noach, I think, volunteered for the job, came down to do the job, and had Malak under his influence to get that job done. And I just think it's one of the great signs. And what Yahweh ultimately says is, because of what you've done here, you serve as the exemplar of the covenant. As a matter of fact, you are the covenant. And God is really impressed with what they achieved. And it's not just that this is the sign of the covenant. You are the covenant. You have established the covenant. The covenant wasn't possible until you did this. And I think maybe that's the place where the relationship just changed. And they really had a good relationship, because it is Noach and Shem that accompanied Yahweh when you had the 3 individuals that met with Sarah and Abraham with the announcement of Yishak. They are Noach and Shem. And the 2 fellows serving as messengers and representatives of Yahweh that go to Sodom, that have to deal with a numbskull and Lot, and to get him out of town, and ultimately have the decision as to what to do to Sodom. Same two guys. And then 10 years later, they're the same two fellows that escort Abraham and Yishak to Mount Moriah. And the term that is used is, in both cases, is Nayar. And it's really a very, very interesting word. You'll do your fact checking on that, I'm sure, Mike. But guess what word is used the most in the presentation of Ruth and Moab on their first date? Nayar. Masculine and feminine, singular and plural. And so it's woven through that whole story. But the last year of Noach happens to be the year that the covenant is confirmed in year 2000, 1968 BCE. So I think that what Yahweh is saying is that because of that Teba, that ship of insights, the vessel of insights, that the Nesama man experiment was allowed to take root and to grow into the covenant. And that's why he was able to witness Abraham and Yishak and the affirmation of the covenant. And my take from that is that the trust between Noach and his wife and Yahweh became so extraordinary that when it came time to have the boy float down the Nile, which I think is the most interesting 6 minutes in the Torah, they were his father and mother. They raised him. And
that
then
was a
when
Teba also.
Yes, it was. It was a Teba. You know your stuff, man. I'm impressed. You absolutely was Teba. It was a vessel of insights, and it's a vessel of insights for the harvest. It is indeed, where they call it a basket there, and they call it an ark and it's ark because of the Latin, but it's a vessel of insights for the harvest, and it was a Teba that was put in the reeds. But the cast of characters around that, and there's an Amma in the midst of that, and the Amma is his mother, and it's the Amma who raises him, and they actually don't release him to Pharaoh's daughter until he's a full-grown man. And the next line after releasing him is when he stood in the way of the taskmasters to save the Hebrews from being beaten to death. They raised him to adulthood. And what they did is that God created this scenario with his fixers, so that this tool that he would use, it's not the first time that soul was. I mean, this is a really important soul. God doesn't risk everything with a soul, with a 3-month-old baby in that. So that's my guy. No, he was Yosef, which means I'll do this again. And he did in the same place in Mitzrayim. And so he came up with a scenario where Moshe was raised such that while he was kept in the Hebrew community, his life was funded. Everything about him was funded by Pharaoh's household. And he had the protection of Pharaoh's household while he was raised entirely with Hebrews by his mother and father. And so when you really pay attention to the words in the story, it's really it's interesting. So I think that by the time we get to Boaz and Ruth, God is saying, this is my guy. This is my woman. This is I trust them. They have been the fixers. Well, if you can fix Nephilim and resolve the human experience so that we have a second chance, I think just God said, this works. And maybe it may be the only tool I'm pulling out of the toolbox, but daggone it, this tool works. And again, I don't want to go too far here and bring blow this out of perspective or anything, but I think that a quarter century ago, when we started this particular phase, that it was the biggest challenge of all. We had 32 years, and no one knew Yahweh's name. No one knew his son. Religions had robbed everything from him. There wasn't anybody conveying the actual words that he spoke. No one explaining them. No one actually revealing what the Moedim represented. No one explaining what the conditions of the covenant were. No one explaining how they were related. No one coming up with the timelines. They even knew what was going to happen next. No one explaining that Dod fulfilled Pesach, Matzah, and Bakodim, that he is the Messiah, that he's the Son of God. None of this. And all of this is essential or God can't return. It's all essential. And he goes to the same dude that he's worked with so many times before and said, this is what I want done. And this same idiot doesn't even bother for a sign that time. He didn't say, well, are you sure? Maybe, but prove it. Give me a sign. He stays true to exactly who he's been all the way through. He didn't ask for any damn sign.
What?
No, he says, okay, what you're asking me to do, of course, is impossible, but my sense is you know that already. So I'm here's some things we're going to need to work out. He said, oh, yeah, okay, well, then reach in your pocket. We've made this deal about a long time ago. And what I didn't know at the time, that the 91st Mizmor and that all of the Mizmor were written. Boy, this sounds. I keep on putting myself in a position where I'm going to be attacked for making big claims, but this is just the way it's played out.
Yes.
I don't think Dod wrote any of his Mizmor until he was 60 years old. Mm. And I think I wrote the Mashal about how a mother and father care for a son on behalf of Dod. And how I taught him to write. And I think he wrote that 91st Mizmor with me there. And we were talking about how this would play out again. And I think when he wrote the 22nd Mizmor, we were there. And we were talking about how that was going to play out, and we'd be with him every step of the way. So what you're going to write now is really, really painful. But you're not going to be alone. I'll go into hell with you, pal. We'll do this together. And so I think that's the relationship that God has. It's like God's projecting himself and saying, I'm going to make certain that he has what he needs. He needs a father, a human father. So I think I was there. I think that very psalm that I pulled out of my pocket, it wasn't my handwriting, but I taught my son how to write it. I was there when he wrote it. So, you once said, Will, that what we're dealing with is memories that are flooding back.
Yeah,
that's where we are.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're in the Leah seat there, Perry. We've talked about a lot of things. This is pretty bold statements on this program. What do you think, pal?
Well, I totally agree with your perspective on all this. And as covenant members, we are the family that you've developed with what you've brought out.
Yeah, I think we are. It's one of the things that is really interesting is that Dod is the firstborn, gets the largest inheritance. According to Yahowah, I inherit something that is really remarkable. It's the covenant family. The covenant family is literally my inheritance, our inheritance. And the thing that I like best about it is that the moment the official inheritance takes place for this covenant family, I give them to Dode. I present the entire covenant family and say, Dode, they're yours. This is your children. You earn them by fulfilling Pesach, Matzah, and Bakurim. And I just think that's the coolest thing ever. So it's really a tender story when you realize that Yahowah decided to show that the human experiment really was possible, and that it could be done, and that we had the wherewithal to do it. And that's why I think that the story of Ruth and Boaz is in the middle of it, because that is Yahowah's love story. That's the essence of what he's trying to achieve in this covenant. Talk about a love story. Look at Wookie and Perry. He's mine. I love him, you know. It's a dog's life. So, yeah, it's an amazing experience. And, if somebody wants to challenge that and say, I don't think that's the case, well, then I would encourage you to translate 40,000 pages and write your insights down and see how they stand up to the test of time. And I'd like you to tell the world where we are in this test of time and who the players are. And I want you to make 1,000 predictions about what's going to happen and see what percentage of them comes right, because in predicting what's going to occur, I'm 1,000 for 1,000. I don't suspect that happened by accident. And nobody in the history of the world has written as much about God as I have. No one has presented as many unique insights about God as I have. I don't think that's by accident. And we talked about altruism earlier. It's been a quarter century of half days, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to get to this point. And the satisfaction is the personal joy of doing it. It's a fun project, but to know that you're trusted by God to do something extraordinary and appreciated for doing it. And then you get to see what he's trying to achieve. What God wants most of all is to have children and raise them. And so he's giving me first shot at it. So I get the joy of having children and raising them. And so my children may be a little gray, a little old, and a little wrinkled here and there, but bald. But that's the way we like them. That's the way we like them. We're celebrating the imperfections and the uniqueness. That's exactly the way we like them. And by the way, there's some that are quite young, and one of the most interesting young men, exceedingly bright.
Yes.
I have 1 billion more hairs than he does. John, he's as bald as a cue ball. So you can still be young.
Oh, he's bright though.
Oh boy, is he bright.
I'm just starting my third childhood.
You are? Okay, that's great. Yeah, when you look, Perry came here. Perry is a mathematician, resolutely logical, comes out of the IBM background, and to come here to a place that is singular in its focus, it's a big issue. Or you look at Rich is saying, I'm going to give it all up. I'm just felt that I'm being called to come here, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to run the technology. You need somebody to do it, and obviously you guys aren't very good at it. So
you did a good job.
You did.
Well, I think we actually did okay for numbskulls with what you had to work with. I mean, I just threw a lot of energy and money at it, and we did okay. We're at a whole another level as to where we are now, and it's getting better all the time. And I particularly just love it when we do that outdoor studio and have so many cameras going and so many beautiful angles and views and vistas. Just nothing like it. And then the quality of the message, it's it's pretty marvelous. But it's been quite a journey, hasn't it, Rich?
Oh yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching the lights go on. I can see the twinkle in your eye when you've just translated something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's exciting.
And it's like, this is really cool.
Oh yeah, when I find a mic, you're funny. Hey, the word for mother-in-law is kala. I said, you know what it actually means? Yes, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And you know when it's used again, so that you can really be sure that it wasn't a coincidence, is when Boaz makes a comment about Ruth that is extraordinary, made by no other person in all of human history. We said, Yahweh is going to fulfill your life's work and going to complete it. And it's the same word. At that point, you know it was not a coincidence.
Yeah. And you are still proving this whole hypothesis already.
Oh, yeah, of course. Or that the first word that is translated kinsman redeemer isn't kinsman redeemer at all. It means you to consider the things pursuant to Yada. And it's introducing Boaz. So, it's that's really clever. And I think that the person that he chose to wrote this, and I think that he likes our writing style, likes our sense of humor and everything else, likes the way we put clues into the words. I think we wrote it together. Yeah.
And this is just really.
Yes. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Jake.
Oh, hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Boy, what do you think about your dad's shows?
Oh, I think they're great.
Yeah, me too. I think they're absolutely great.
Yeah, he forgot to tell me to put the headset on, though.
Yeah, we made a mistake. I made a mistake.
That was his fault.
And he did a whole episode without the headphones.
Oh yeah, the take two. What happened was I put the headphones on. He had taken it out earlier in the day to plug it into a speaker. I didn't know he did that. I did the whole take two. There was no sound for the take two. We were going in the wrong direction fast.
Yeah, I can tell you, Jake, that we have done maybe 30 shows where for a portion of the show we didn't have any audio or the audio was wrong. And a lot of times it's actually Microsoft working against us. Microsoft wants to control everything. And no matter how many times you say, no, we don't want to use your speakers. We don't want to use your camera. We don't want to use your software. We're just using a PC. And unfortunately, we haven't taken the time to remove Microsoft and replace it with Linux, but which is just shut down. We're trying to disuse you and it will reemerge itself and take control. And even with StreamYard, it's you have to start with a certain camera that has the mic associated with it, even though the cameras don't have any mics. And if you start with the wrong camera, you're going.
Yeah, that was us.
There's just no sound whatsoever. Yes,
I was going to say, Yada, can we just go back to what you had said about Dode writing the Psalms much later in life?
Yes.
I was preparing for an episode today, a sale earlier in the day, Psalm 119, and it's about, it's all about not just Yahweh's testimony, but the celebration of it through observing. And there's all kinds of promises associated with observing. And one of them is to, protect us from stumbling and falling and erring. And so, given all Dode's foibles and also the fact that he said he constantly observed, I couldn't resolve, well, if you were constantly observing, how did we end up with the Uriah Bathsheba affair? How did we end up with you getting water from a well and dumping it out and men lost their lives? I mean, you weren't observing the Torah then. So that would make a lot of sense that not only did he start writing Psalms later in life, he started observing the Torah constantly then.
Correct.
That makes that.
Yeah, I think that Dode was self-absorbed and made one tragic mistake after another, and they were gross mistakes. And you cannot be inspired to write on behalf of Yahweh if Yahweh and you are not communicating. Yeah. And Yahweh was communicating to him through surrogates, through the likes of Nathan. And so he could not have been inspired by Yahweh to write Mizmor when they were estranged. And they were estranged for a very long time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I don't even think that it's possible when you're running away from trouble, if Yahweh has done something that's really extraordinary in your life and you're running from trouble, you're not there yet. You're just not prepared to speak for him yet. You need more life experiences. And being in trouble and having to overcome them, having Leah having in that life as Leah, having so many aches and pains, and as Ruth losing a husband and rejecting your mother and father and leaving your community, that's a lot of pain. But it is that pain, it's that frustration, it's the suffering, it's the loss, it's the challenge that you overcome that builds the character that you need to prevail to see the job through. So I think that the failure in life prepared Dode to write the story of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And that would mean that every time that Dode speaks of some adversarial thing, he is not speaking of an adversarial thing as in somebody was bothering him during an episode of his life. I think every adversary that he's speaking of is him following through and doing what Yahweh wanted, fulfilling Pesach, Matzah, and Bekurim, and then having the numbskulls amongst his own people deprive him and them of the benefits of those sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he is lashing out at future religious foes, not at former foes.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that that the high likelihood is that when Ruth and Boaz, now who were the great grandparents of Dode, and had gone to Shamaim and had a little vacation with Yah, and they saw what had happened with their grandson, that once again, whether it was Yahweh saying, "Oh, we got to fix this," or them saying, "All right, before this gets any worse, you guys aren't talking. Let us go in and fix this." But that time we went in as full adults. We went in with full knowledge of exactly who Yahweh is and who we were and who Dode was. We went in with full knowledge, and she works on Dode with the last word picture, and I arrive with the 89th Mizmor, which is, you want a tool in the toolbox, there's your hammer.
Sure.
In fact, that may be the whole damn toolbox. And we get her turned around, and then I think we spent at least 10 years with him. I think we spent all of that last 10 years with him. And I think the first thing we did in just a matter of months is I wrote all of the Mashal. And Mashal, if you look at the pace that I write, that would have taken a couple of weeks. Now we've had a lot of distractions. We're still bringing Dode back, but we wrote the Mashal, and the Mashal are all about a mother and a father and their love for their son and how they're going to care for their son and raise their son and teach their son the values of knowing Yahweh and acting within the Torah. And we write that, we teach him how to write. And we take over the responsibility as great-great-grandparents for raising his son, Solomon. And then he has nothing but time. And if you notice, there is nothing that happens in Dode's life. Nothing. You know, when you read and you read the closing chapters of Shamuel regarding Dode, they are retrospectives of summary actions of things that have taken place long ago. They're addendums that explain things that were not shared in his story that are still needed for us to put the pieces together, like that, the whole story of the glass of water from Bethlehem. It didn't happen then. It happened very early, before Dode even moved his capital to Jerusalem, and when Bethlehem was occupied by the Philistines. So the Samuel account in the last 2 or 3 chapters is no longer chronological. And so it's just something you need to process and be aware of as you're doing your analysis of Dode's life. And what you find is that those last 10 years, Dode had a full decade to write the Mizmor.
Yeah.
And I think that's when he got them all done. I do not know now what order he wrote them in, but there are some profound ones. The 19th, the 91st, the 119th, the 22nd, the 23rd. I think the first is I think that the first 10 are all just absolutely magnificent. The 88th, he did not, however, write the 89th.
Well, the show Selah has endless material to get
it
through.
Does. There you go. Yeah, Jake, what you need to do is talk your dad into letting you contribute to one of the shows and be a guest on his show. I think that would be great.
That would be cool.
We have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to do that. I think a father and son show would be absolutely magnificent, and you guys are the perfect father and son to do that.
Well, thank you. Kevin can help us out with that.
I can tell level. You that everybody in the Covenant family loves you, Jake. We think the world of you, and we love your dad.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're a great guy. All right, we're going to say good night. You want to end with one of those two songs? Maybe we do "Lay at the Well" yet again, or is there another song that you would like to play in the great reservoir of songs as we say good night?
I think it's "Lay at the Well" night, so we'll end with "Lay at the Well."
Lay at the Well night. All right. Hey, I didn't have a chance to ask Captain Kirk, but how you feeling, pal?
Oh, I'm all right.
Okay. Yeah, I asked Sylvie the other day. She says that she is recovered fairly nicely from the migraines. Doesn't have nearly as many of them anymore.
Yeah. We suffer mostly from living here in Carmel.
From what?
We're living in Carmel. It's miserable. It's overcast so much. Yeah, it affects our sinuses. We really battle. We're looking at where we can go.
Yeah, I can recommend a place. I think Perry's here, Rich is here, Leia's here, Wookie is here, Kara, Asher. It's really lovely here.
To stay with her Yehudim sons close by.
I know. But it's really a lovely place.
I know.
It's not a great. Yeah, it's not a great place to be sick. We don't have a hospital worth a darn. We have crappy roads and terrible internet and a power company that doesn't know how to perform and a government that's completely greedy. But you live out on the east side of this island. It's like living in paradise, and there are no distractions. You are not worried about what you're going to do other than what you're doing. So if you want a place where you can just focus on doing, this is a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah. So how's life, Maura?
Good. Busy. We both work a lot, and anyway, life is great.
Different businesses or same business?
I'm in commercial construction. I work for a company, and he does remodels and things on the side, kind of his own thing.
Okay. So he's a remodel contractor? A remodel contractor? Mm-hmm. Or does he buy them and remodel them and then sell them, or remodels as a remodel contractor for others?
Just people he knows. It's all word of mouth, kitchens, bathrooms. He's done an addition. But yeah, he just decided to work for himself when he got laid off from his old management job.
Okay. My favorite is remodels because they're the hardest, by far the hardest. People think that remodeling is easier than new construction, but it's many, many times more difficult. You're always problem solving. Yeah, nothing's straight. Yeah, I always tell that anybody that we're gonna start a remodel now. If you have a level and your truck, throw it away. We're dealing with existing lines. We're not dealing with level.
He's really good at sort of finding that middle sort of.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, it's all commarmaises. It's all compromises. You make it. You make her work. I love remodeling for that reason, because it's just a marvelous experience in problem solving. And you work for a large construction company?
Middle size. I think we have less than 50 employees.
Well, that's a lot of employees still.
10 years now.
What kind of buildings for the most part?
We do biotech. We do just your regular everyday TI. We do doctor's offices, not hospitals though.
Okay.
We got a
professional buildings, technology and medical. Okay.
And
takes a skill set.
Some a lot of just regular everyday office TIs.
Okay.
That's kind of the bread and butter.
Okay. So an artist, a contractor, and Mike, you were a musician when you came up, a drummer, and you work in Texas, and I think it's mostly technology, isn't it?
I work at Texas Instruments. I'm an electrical
that's technology.
Engineer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're electrical. So you are a full-fledged electrical engineer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we make chips. I'm working on DLP right now. Well, for the past 30 years, digital light processing, digital micro mirror device. You can look it up online if you want to read about it.
Well, you look at Texas Instruments; they invented the transistor, right? That became the basis of really all technology.
Yeah, Bell Labs invented the transistor, but TI made it commercially successful. With the Bell Labs one, the original one in 1947 was made out of germanium. TI perfected the silicon transistor, which is a lot easier to make. So first transistor
radios silicone ever since.
Yeah, TI also invented the integrated circuit. Jack Kilby invented the integrated circuit back in like 1957, I think it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Back in the day, you were the doom of me in college because I was a whiz with the slide rule and loved the whole process of thinking things through with the slide rule. And Texas Instruments developed that TI calculator, and all of a sudden, all the business school probability and finance and financial projections and everything was done on the calculator, and I was slow on the uptake because I just loved the analog nature of the slide rule and the thought process that went into it. And just pushing buttons seemed so like I was removing my brain from the process, and I struggled with that. So I've always had a frustration with Texas Instrument, but that was such an interesting thing. They actually made the old thing. It was a triangular shape and the wood grain texture to it. The old Texas Instrument calculator was quite the thing.
I have a slide rule, but I never learned how to use it. My cousin Walt, that's 4 years older than me. He was an engineer at Caterpillar Tractor in Peoria, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
He used a slide rule because he was 4 years older than me. But by the time I was like high school, college, I mean, I had a TI 30 in high school, so I never did learn how to. The calculators finally came down in price, and I had a TI 30 in high school.
I'm actually so grateful that I was raised and went through college at a time where slide rules were still in effect, because it is it integrates your own brain into the process where you're using the logs to form relationships between things you're trying to make connection to and understand. I just think it gives you a much better grasp of the process than you get from pushing buttons.
Yeah.
But we're way past that now. And what we learned is that the more time one spends with computers doing thinking for us, the dumber we become, with the exception of Jake over here. All right. Well, we're going to play on our way out. Will, thank you for bringing Jake into the show. I look forward to your third show. Remember the ears. Make sure everything is plugged in. It's nothing wrong with the test, and I would include Jake in a show.
We'll have to do that soon.
Yeah, he is such a bright young man, and he is just beloved by everyone. So I think it really would be a good thing to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Perry and Rich. Thank you for producing this. And so, my friend, my partner, the man who is now the glue of the Covenant family that keeps it all together. The man who says, I'm not altruistic. I'm doing this for myself. But But the devotion belies the claim, pal. But nonetheless, if that makes you feel better, we'll go with it.
I can be very devoted to myself. Yes.
Okay. Well, you have a very funny way of displaying it. Then that seems awfully altruistic to me. But is it really altruistic if you're doing it to please Yah and to demonstrate our value to Yah, to deliver what He wants done, and you know that He, no matter what you provide for Him, He manages to give a billion times back. And it's really interesting, as I was telling these stories of how I think we chit-chatted over issues that needed to be resolved over time, and I'm suggesting that we actually work them out together. Yahowah is not one to take credit for anything.
Mm-hmm.
He would much prefer to give credit for everything. So the fact that I'm talking about, we had a collaborative discussion. I said, what do you think about this idea? I think we can salvage this. He's 100% of the energy, the power, the enablement of it. You're just providing a rent-a-nasalma to get it done. But he is the power behind it, and he doesn't want any credit for it. Because that's not the purpose. That's not the purpose. You want, if you're going to have children, you want to credit your children, and it doesn't matter, if it's real children or you're mentoring people in your business or your life. You want them to achieve, and you want to credit them when they achieve, and that's the great happiness of the whole process. I watch you with John, our Gen Zer. And you can see that you're taking pride in what he's accomplishing.
For my little part in it, I'm very happy with what they're putting on the table. Absolutely, very happy with what they're doing.
Yeah, and I can see that you're thrilled because you're the trans guy for most of these songs. The songs don't get played until they go to the trans guy.
That's right. Yeah, it's a little piece, but it should be my little part of it. Yeah.
But you love your piece.
I do, absolutely.
Yeah. But in every community, to be modern, you've got to have a trans guy, and so
absolutely,
Kevin is our trans guy. You don't look trans, but
no, he's the best trans guy. I love him.
Are we embarrassing you, Mariah?
No, I'm just tired.
It's my job to embarrass Kirk, but he's just not as much fun to embarrass these days. You get sick and you can't pick on the guy that until he gets back on his game. I can't go pick on him anymore. So.
Oh darn!
Oh shoot! All right, let's close our program. Thank you very much for not making fun of my shirt. I actually like this one.
Awesome.
I might wear it. I might wear it again because I think
I think that shirt is amazing.
Oh, thank you, Jake. Cool. See, I knew I liked you, Jake.
Yeah.
You got to be comfortable with yourself to put on a shirt like this, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a little wild, but I think it's fun too.
Great.
I think you look great in it. It really pops,
Get you a backwards hat and you'll be in business.
Yeah.
And for a guy that's 6,000 years old, I'm doing okay.
You're keeping up with the fashion, all right.
Yeah. I like the fact too on the vlog we are offering fashion criticism during the vlog with the guy that was Kermit the Frog and Ernie and the guy that had his hat forward. So we thought, hey, that's pretty cool. So we are full service in this regard. Let's play Lay at the Well. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Stood where absence had left its mark, hands empty, yet my heart still reaching. Woman unloved by her husband. Then Yahowah met me not with noise, but with the quiet strength that gathers the scattered. He did not ask me to pretend I was whole. He taught me that being seen is not the same as being forgotten. He showed me a home not built by the proud, but opened by truth, vulnerability, and a doorway beyond stones in the wall, a family beyond fear, oppression, and rebellion. So I became a witness of the way back, not by striving to shine, but by learning to trust the light, and by performative measures of action, by walking in covenant fruitfully. And when the long road felt barren, I remember this: the shepherd is never late, and Yahowah's right hand is never closed, and Leah, though never seen in first light, already lingered in the edges of strife, the much quieter sister of a crowded hope, the one whose name became a snare, for some are chosen by the eye of day, and some are loved in shadows none can track, yet even hidden hearts are known above, and no true tenderness is ever lack. The well still waits in every open field, where thirst and longing meet beneath the sun, and each soul carries some sealed waiting place, until love comes and says, the day is done. So let the shepherd come with patient hands, and let the traveler keep his set apart flame. For all our roads, if they are walked with truth, will lead at last to one good name. Yahowah. One good name, Yahowah. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me. 6 days we work, then we bask. We leave the noise to hear Yah's voice. We listen, we learn, we struggle to know. We walk with Yah through the mikre. Shabbat, Shabbat, come home and rest. Shabbat, Shabbat, Yahowah's best. Lay down the weak, let your soul be free. Shabbat, Shabbat, come back to me.